Hello, and welcome to the Kosh, the People's Podcast. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and the Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who've had an association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area. Kosh listeners, how are we doing this morning? I'm doing fabulous. It's a great day. You know what? I got up, peeked outside. It's beautiful. And you know what I've come to do is we don't get enough nice days in Wisconsin. Like, they're limited, they're numbered. And so I have learned to pause when I get up in the morning and it's just like, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, the sun is out and it's gorgeous. And I sit in that energy for a second. And today is one of those days where I got to sit in that energy for a moment. But I also think a big part of that is going to be what this particular episode is going to be. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this guest and what we're going to be talking about for so many reasons, but I'm not even going to let on too much. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick moment and give a quick shout out to this episode's sponsor, which is Sunken Paddle Cider Works, making the best of it. I want to send a shout out to my fellas over there, to Spencer and Doug. And once again, if you have not had a chance to have the Kosh cider, y'all missing out. It is fabulous. I've been getting reviews. I've been having people go and they've been picking it up. You can pick it up at the food co-op. You can actually pick it up at Sunken Paddle. It is tasty. It is yummy. It is different. It is blackberry and habanero. Or let me correct myself. It is habanero and blackberry because we particularly made sure that we put the habo first. Not hot on the tongue, but warm in your heart, girl. Let me just tell you about that right there, because that is the truth of it. All right, but enough of that. Let me just get on to the real business at hand. And you know what makes fire episodes? Fire guests. That's what makes fire episodes. And you know, I think y'all know what I'm about to say. I don't know how I continue to get these amazing, amazing guests. And this week is no different. This guest is going to be fire. They walked in here with energy. They're ready. Look, y'all, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to let them run this show because it's that serious. It's that much positive energy in this space. This week's guest is Tess Domnie. Hey, Tess.
Hey, Timber.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to do this, and I'm going to still do it. This week's guest is Tess Domnie. Yes, even though there was a slip up, we will go back because you know what? You deserve the full Kosh treatment.
Thank you, Timber.
You're like, wow, I did not expect all of that. It's all good.
I feel honored. Thank you.
Hey, I'm honored. All right. So how's your day going?
It's wonderful. I totally feel what you were saying of waking up and it not being too warm and too cold. I also stepped outside and took a little moment to enjoy that, as well as knowing what I was coming in here for today.
Yeah? All right. I felt like you came in here to share.
Yeah.
There's people, there's people who are apprehensive. You were not that.
I am excited.
Yes. I got that feeling, which, I'm a person. I feed off other people's energy, so your excitement made me excited. Matter of fact, you ready to jump in?
I sure am.
Okay. Well, Tess, can you please share a little something about yourself and your connection to the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area?
Absolutely. I am a USD hemp producer in Wisconsin and own a craft CBD company here in Oshkosh, as well as a dispensary on Jackson Street. I grew up in Oshkosh. Born and raised. I went to Madison where I graduated with a consumer science degree and back to the community that raised me to share what I have.
All right. Tess, you don't just get to float that out there. Like you said all sorts of interesting in there. You said a consumer, state that again?
Science.
No. Okay. Consumer science was the degree from Madison. And what you do now is?
I am a USDA hemp producer and own a craft CBD company and a dispensary on Jackson Street.
So those are sophisticated words for what I'm going to ask you to do is just break that down. What does that mean?
Yeah, I sell hemp cannabis.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, that is fantastic. Okay, so what does it mean to be a U.S. distributor?
Yeah, so I'm a USDA hemp producer. I'm licensed with the USDA to grow and produce hemp products. So the license is really just to grow hemp, which I have a farm outside of town, outdoor farm, as well as an indoor hydroponic farm at the dispensary. So that's the license that then allows me to do that part of it.
Okay. And what are some of the products?
Yeah, and then from that hemp that I grow, I craft big, beautiful hemp plants that then make CBD oil. And from the CBD oil, I make CBD gummies and pain salve. And those are my main, the oil and a pet oil, a human oil, and then a pet oil. And then the gummies and, yeah, pain salves.
Did you say a pet oil?
Yes.
So we should have had this conversation prior to the 4th of July.
Yes.
Because Bosco, the podcast dog, had a rough 4th of July.
Oh, no.
He really did.
There has been a lot of animals the last month between the fireworks, the storms, and then EAA. I have been blowing through pet oil as well as dog CBD treats. It's been a really rough month. I'm sorry to hear that it's been for your pup as well.
I feel bad for my man, except for he is the most spoiled dog in the world.
He seems pretty happy and like he's recovering.
Yeah, he's good. A couple of belly rubs, my man. He's back to norm. It doesn't take much for him.
Good.
All right, let's back up. So you're born and raised Kosh.
Yes.
All right, so give us that lineage. What does that look like? What's the high school? What's the middle school? Because these things matter.
Yeah. I grew up on CP Street.
So you're close.
Oh, just like real close.
Okay.
You know, a couple blocks by the lake, and went to Webster. So I actually went to St. Mary's or St. Francis Cabrini for a few years.
Okay.
Got out of that and then went to Webster for 4th and 5th grade and then middle school and then Oshkosh North. Graduated from Oshkosh North.
Okay, so you're Oshkosh North, all right.
I am.
That's okay. That's fantastic. And then you made your way to UW-Madison, if I'm remembering.
Yeah.
All right. Growing up Kosh, how did you find this field?
Yeah, it goes way back. I was touched by cannabis a number of times in my life. And like early on, I grew up in a household with a recovering alcoholic father. So he did not drink. I didn't know him ever to drink. My mom did drink. So there was always that was like a heightened thing in our house of alcohol. And then I think playing upon that and like seeing kind of how marijuana even fit in with alcohol and being a kid and confused about like why this one was okay and this one wasn't, maybe feeling like as a kid unsafe with alcohol, but never got that feeling from like marijuana. And like as I got older, realizing like these parents who I respect and are kind are also using marijuana, and there was just like this disconnect growing up in Oshkosh. Just so many times in my life that like came back to marijuana. I had a friend who had childhood cancer, and he found relief through cancer and luckily was able to, or for marijuana, was able to use marijuana, helped him, and like watching him pass away as a young kid, really, but being able to like see how cannabis helped and like was able to help him through the end of his life, connecting with like us as friends, like, and being young and having, it just felt like medicine. It didn't feel like something that was harmful. And yeah, I saw it really helped him at the end of his life. I think for me, just growing up in Oshkosh, you know, you start experimenting with things. So I have these different like things going on, these things that I've seen, not really knowing what's what, but then experimenting myself with like cigarettes and alcohol and weed and realizing like, I mean, alcohol's, there's way more screwed up things that are going on with my friends. Like, I felt very out of control, very like scared for friends who were, you know, drinking too much.
Like, there's some bad adventures that can happen when you indulge a little too far.
And you're in high school,
and we all do it.
Yeah. So there's just all these disconnects and like trying these things myself, and then and again seeing the disconnect, what like, you know, me trying marijuana compared to like me having some drinks. I just really have this heightened sense of the disconnect of what was going on with marijuana and seeing, different lives being destroyed along the way and just not understanding, like, how we're destroying lives over low-level offense marijuana. And just, there was just so much that stuck with me.
Yes, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's still, why we still have this legalization thing going on. It makes no sense. We can clearly see, and I agree with you, like, of course there are people out there who've never done it, but there's not many. there's not many who haven't tried it at some point, and there's not many who have found big fault with it.
The big fault, that's where I really stand, is like, it's so hard to understand where the fault is. Like, in my mind, you become a little more thoughtful, like you become a little more chill. Like, there's not violence, there's not,
I've actually had an officer say to me, if I have the choice of, and it's a late weekend night, and I run into somebody who's smoked and somebody who's been drinking, I'm taking the smoker all day, because that's not usually elevating into anything.
No,
that's going to be what it be. I have a saying that the only person who's in danger is the pizza man, and he's really not in danger because you can negotiate peace with a piece of pizza.
Yeah.
And Doritos. I'm just saying.
That's about, bro. It is about, like, I mean, that is about one of the worst side effects is you're getting hungry, and that's not always a bad thing.
Oh, no. That's some of the best eating you've ever going to do.
Yeah. And just,
Okay.
Trying these things myself and realizing, like, wait a minute. We are not helping people with daily medicine. We are locking people up. And...
Well, since I think we're going to be talking about this throughout this episode, but, I do want to cover maybe something at the beginning. And maybe it's the medicine part. Like, what have you learned since being in this business, how helpful cannabis has been medicinally to people? And who are those people? What are those people's... What are some of the things that people are suffering from that they're finding this to be a good, I don't want to call it a remedy because it's not a remedy. But finding self-care in it.
Yeah. And really, like, daily medicine is what I'm finding in it. And 9 out of 10 people are coming to me with health issues. This is not something people are just wanting to...
less recreational, you're saying?
Less recreational. They're not just wanting to relax from it. And often the 1 out of 10 who's wanting to relax from it is not even like, it's more to relax at home, to let, like, the day go, to not have a cocktail or in place of a cocktail, that if a cocktail is okay, so is like a bowl of weed or an edible or something. But most people are coming from A to Z with health problems, from pain, fibromyalgia, arthritis. They're coming in with sleep issues. They're coming in with anxiety and, like, that they can't function through the day. They have struggled with different processed medicine, prescription medicine. That's a lot of what I see, is that people are getting prescription medicine for this, that, and the other thing. They're causing side effects.
And they could just be smoking weed.
They could just be smoking weed. And, what we've been told for the last 100 years is just not true. Cannabis is medicine. It is daily medicine. Before it was prohibited all the 100 years back, the American Medical Association, stated how much medical benefit it has. And that's what I'm seeing. Since opening the doors in December, people every day are coming in and they're telling me about what's going on with them, whether it's their knee pain, whether it's their back pain. So many people are suffering from back pain, like these spinal infusions. I can't even tell you how many people come in and have had, like, the back surgery, migraines. So it's from little every, like, daily things, ailments, to I have people who are coming in and they're months away from dying. That is also not unusual, of people walking in the door who just got a diagnosis of lymphoma, or I help people with HIV. I help people just from very little, like, daily issues to life, last months of their life. So this is a medicine that's not just helping people on the daily with little things. It is helping them tremendously, like at the end of their life, and terrible diseases that they're facing, a lot of cancer. And, they're being able to, their doctors tried this, that, everything. And then at the end, when they're done with them, is when these cancer teams often will say, you can go to marijuana now,
Bruh.
And I know, how helpful it would have been the whole time for them,
right,
mentally and physically, to eat. Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, I hear a lot about processed medicine and prescription medicine along the way and the side effects, and it's just dirty compared to really cannabis at the end of the day. We've been told for so long that cannabis is dirty and smoking weed feels dirty, and at the end of the day, like, it's just the opposite. It's just not.
No, it just doesn't. I'm going to assume it doesn't have those same side effects. No. And
the addiction, processed medicine has a lot of addictive.
Yeah, definitely can.
Yeah. So side effects, addiction, and it's like, we have this plant that grows.
Just grows.
It's really hardy.
Wait, out of the ground.
Out of the ground with the sun and the soil, and can help, like, literally A to Z, whatever you got, death or just like a little, relaxing.
Take the edge off.
Take the edge off. And yeah, big scary plant, huh? Big scary plant.
Yes. No. It is not scary.
Yeah.
And it's never made sense to me. And I definitely, the criminalization of it has never made sense to me.
No. And that is something, like, I hold in my heart of, like, I was born in Oshkosh with privilege and saw that going down and was so confused about why, white people are getting away with this, and why we are locking up black men and women at such higher rates, why we're arresting them at higher rates, why we're incarcerating them at higher rates, why we are allowing this to go on and on and on and on and ruin generations of lives. And then
when we're all smoking weed.
And it's literally medicine.
Yeah.
And
I'm just on the fairness part. That yes, and I agree, it's definitely medicine, but I'm just like on the whole, and everybody's doing it, and even the people you don't think are doing it. You don't think that it doesn't make its way out there to the woods when you're deer hunting and all of these other things. Like it's like, yeah, but there's other people who are losing their life and opportunities over weed,
and like generations of lives are being affected. It's like when you lock one person up, it's like the repeat offending rate. It's like, or like the recidivism. I have a hard time saying that word.
Recidivism.
Yeah, when you get in, you are in the system, and most people stay in the system. So it's like one little low level drug offense, we're putting somebody in, and then it's like, how many times have we done that in how many cities, how many states, and then how many generations of people is that affecting who their dad was locked up, their mom was locked up wrongfully, while their neighbor got away with a lot more,
Yeah.
And then over something like cannabis that, it's just the tool. It was the tool in my mind way back when for the control. And, I think that, like, that shows how powerful cannabis is, because I think there's a reason it was lied about and prohibited and used in such a way. And
there's definitely there's something, I want to say there's like and I don't know a better word, but I'm going to say it has the stench of capitalism
and racism,
associated with it, trying to keep people from having the opportunity to engage in it for the either, whether it's medicinal or recreational. Neither one is wrong, and because I'm sure there's I feel like most things, all things go back to money at the end of the day, and there's definitely got to be a trail traced back to capitalism on why for so long it had this narrative to it and it wasn't being allowed. But now there's breakthroughs and opportunities. There's Tess's now.
Yeah. You got to put yourself out there and share it, and, not let the lies control you or believe the lies. We got to think for ourselves, and we got to try things for ourselves. And yeah,
I think that is the big thing. I definitely think, and I'm not going to say what I want to say now because I think it's coming up in what in the world is going on with. So we'll talk about it then. But what I am going to ask you right now is, if you weren't doing what you do professionally right now, what would you like to be doing?
I am doing exactly what I want to be doing. The only thing is I wish it were legal in Wisconsin so I could really have access to everything I want to be doing. But no, I'm here.
You're doing exactly.
Yeah, I worked hard to get here.
You got your stake in the ground. You're holding it down.
Yeah, and there's lots of unknowns in the industry and the whatever, but yeah, I am absolutely here. And yeah, I mean, I'll just be like a mom or a dog mom at gardening. At the end of the day, if I can't do this, like this is it for me.
I love it. Okay. Was there anything we missed? Anything else you want to share about your journey, your personal journey here?
No.
Okay. Then we're ready to jump in.
Let's
okay.
do it.
First segment is called What in the World is Going On With. This is where you start with the phrase, what in the world, and then you tell us what's on your mind.
Okay. And like I said to you, I'm just going to kind of jump right into what in the world is going on with lying to children about cannabis.
Bruh.
Ooh. Woo.
Bruh.
Let's go.
Yeah. So kind of touched upon like my little background, that I had some heightened things just as a kid growing up and was made aware in my perspective. And so I also won the DARE essay back in like fifth grade.
What?
Bruh.
I did. I cared about my body, cared about following rules. I didn't want to like try drugs and be like dirty and like, I was always got good grades and involved and whatnot. But when I started experimenting and realizing there was a disconnect here.
The message didn't match.
So like I said, I tried cigarettes, I tried alcohol, I tried weed. I was like, weed is not as bad as alcohol. Like for certain that was for me. I felt that. And so I thought, well, okay, I'm, a rule follower, and this cannabis, marijuana, is with these other drugs. So if cannabis isn't bad, it's not making me feel bad, I'm going to try these other drugs. So here I am in Oshkosh North, I don't know, a sophomore, junior, experimenting with cocaine, ecstasy, crack, pills, prescription pills, and like trying all these things to realize like, yo, these are different. This shit's putting holes in my head. Like, this is not good. This is taking me down a path that I'm not going to be able to come back from. And I think that's so important to me, is like, we've made marijuana illegal all these years with an unintended consequence of lying to children. So they go experiment, try it, realize for themselves, like, weed's not bad, weed's not what it said, and they try these other drugs. Well, I had issues and luckily got myself out of those issues, but I have watched numerous friends and loved ones in this town not be able to get out of it, and trying the prescription pills, getting addicted, trying the cocaine, getting addicted. These things happen quick with addiction. And I've watched, whether, it's suicide or overdose, I have known so many people who have died. And I really think it's all like worked up with this, where if these kids, my friends, were told the truth, they may have been able to like use marijuana in these hard times instead of having to go clean and then wanting like the pain pill or, the opiate. Like when I was growing up, that was like very big, the opiates, the Oxycontin, and seeing like friends. And I just feel like, maybe they wouldn't have tried those things. Maybe they would have tried it, but when they were told like, you can't do anything, they could have tried marijuana still. But instead, like drinking, I saw the depression come out, or like whatever, where I just feel like, I just think we are screwing up so many kids' lives in our country that we don't realize, because we're like, we could just reschedule it and tell the truth about it. And I just don't think it would destroy as many like kids' lives. And I think that that's where it's starting. It's like those Like, yeah.
What I would agree with you about is like that narrative is like it does the math don't math, so it doesn't matches in which then other. I think it makes people question all the other things that they're told are bad.
Yes.
You know, the way I feel about it is it should be taught. Marijuana should be taught like alcohol. Yeah. You know when you're young, there's an age when you can, and then you make responsible decisions from it. There you go. Yeah. I just think that's it.
And then, like with marijuana, it does have so many medicinal benefits, like where even like alcohol doesn't, that we can go on that too.
Yeah, and then if there's the medicinal benefits on where it can be utilized in a medicinal sense, I'm with it. But I do think that narrative of trying to put it up there with some of the most harmful substances out there. And then when people try it, and they're like, yeah, well, if this ain't that bad, this can't be that bad. And I do think that correlates. I think that happens where once you lie about one thing, or once this and I don't want to say lie, when you create this false narrative, how about that?
Yes,
when you create this false narrative about something, it makes people question what else are false narratives.
Which is maybe good. I mean, I'm glad that I question things, but I also feel like, lives are being destroyed. More lives are being destroyed in the process when we could just be real.
Well, not everybody has the control that when they hit some of the other things.
Yeah. To
be able to sample and move away.
Yeah.
Some people, they sample and they go down that path.
Or find them self-help, because then the help out there is not easy to find either, for when kids are having addiction problems, substance abuse problems, there is not the help out. It is not easy. You're in a fucked up place. Excuse my language. You're in a screwed up place anyways, and then to have to call for yourself to get help. And there's not great help out there. There's actually really inadequate options out there of when you're trying to look for help, it's super scary. Yeah. There's, like I said, I was touched with the opiate crisis a lot, and the oxycodones or Oxycontin and whatnot. And then thinking of, those come out and they're being pushed by doctors instead of marijuana for so many things. It's very interchangeable. A pain medicine marijuana could be used, but then often the help for people who get addicted to pain medicine is a pain medicine type of clinic, like a Suboxone type clinic. And it's these companies are owned by same people who are making the pain medicine, who are making the help, the clinic with the help and the counseling, but and they're politicians who are owning these same companies, and it's
right. So they create the substance that is the problem, and then they also create the
solution with the problem.
Right. The solutions. I don't know if those are solutions or that's what I was trying to find the right word. But let's just call them resources. How about that? They create the resource that's supposed to be part of the solution.
Yes. Yeah. And all while marijuana is hanging out here with a really bad rep.
And they're making money on both ends.
They are. Lots of money. And destroying lives,
That is interesting.
Yeah, it was a really interesting world to see myself and to try to find help, and knowing I have family and friends, and I have privilege that what if I'm having such a hard time finding help in this point, what is everybody else out there really struggling? And I just don't want to be a part of that problem. I want to help people. I really believe that I have a better option for helping people, and I think nature has this better option, and nature,
you can literally put a seed in the ground.
Seed, yeah, and it's hardy. It's not I mean, that's probably my dream, even over selling it. Maybe there you go. That's what I would do is teach people how to grow their own weed, just their tomato plants in their backyard. I saw your beautiful garden back there. I could see, a little beautiful hemp plant. And you could have your, tomatoes, your food, but you can have your little yearly medicine that you're going to have. And,
hey, Look, the minute Uncle Sam says I can, we can holler.
Yeah.
We can have a conversation.
I'll teach you a thing or two.
I am open to being taught. I am not that way.
I would love to teach everybody to grow their own cannabis plant in their backyard.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Bruh.
Let me ask you this real quick. How did your family feel about you going down this professional path?
I think they were open. I think they've known that I supported it. I was a financial advisor for my, first part of my life, so it's a little different from that. I did go off on my own with a business before the hemp, but I think they probably knew it was pretty in line with who I was and like really who I am. And I probably worried about my dad a little more because, like I said, he was a recovered alcoholic and clean and sober for a long time. So I just I didn't know what he would think, but he was like one of my biggest supporters of all. That's
awesome.
Yeah,
that's just awesome. I can tell that you were supported just by the smile. Like, yes. That's amazing. Okay. Yeah. I was just curious.
Yeah.
All right. What in the world is going on with, and I had because some weekends I do double recordings. I do a recording on Saturday, record on Sunday. So I recorded yesterday and I used 2 what in the world is going on with. So then I had 1 left, and then I'm going to take down path, and I'm sorry, Kosh listeners, but I'm just going to be 100 with you. What in the world is going on with medical prep?
Bruh.
Okay, what do I mean by that? All right, and I'm just going to tell y'all now, I'm at the age that I had to have one of those procedures. I had a colonoscopy, all right? And before you ever get to that point of actually going through that, which to some I know it sounds absolutely terrifying if you've never had to do one before, but I promise you it's not. It's not my first one, but so I had to go through it. I hit the 5-0. It was time. I had to go make this happen. Now, the actual tough part about it is the prep you have to do prior to having to do this thing. And that is a mixture of waterboarding yourself and then starving yourself. That is a rough go during that time period, in a short time period, right? So, and if y'all don't know, for y'all out there, y'all are going to find out, but it is a tough go to get ready for this thing. Because you first, about 2 days out, you got to start lightening up. You can't be eating all this crazy stuff. You can't be eating all the roughage and all this stuff that's not going to process well in your body. So you got to lighten it up first. And then, like the day before, you've got to get ready and you start moving towards an all liquid diet, right? So you can do some Jell-O. That's about the only hard thing you can do. You can do some Jell-O, but you got to move to fluids and liquids, and not just any liquids. Like you can't go having your strawberry Kool-Aid. That's not going to work. It's got to be clear or coffee, tea-ish, something along that lines. You could do some broth, which broth saved me this year. My wife made me this wonderful broth. Ooh. The broth was that kept me from being hungry. I just drank a ton of broth. Now, that being said, what I'm also going to say is I think me drinking all this broth during my prep period also screwed up my blood pressure readings when I went to go get my blood pressure read because it was super salty. But that's just another thing. I'm just going to put that out there for y'all. Now, Kosh listeners, I know y'all are along this ride and you're like, wow, Timber's crazy because he's literally talking to us about this thing. Yes, y'all, I am. And that means that my Kosh listeners, y'all know me better than most. That's just how this goes. Anyway, at the end of the day, when you're all said and done and look, your body's just saying, hey, we're clearing everything out of here. You're clean. You're good, right? Make sure you set your appointment early in the morning so you don't have to starve yourself during the entire day. The funny thing is the procedure, you don't even know. Like you walk in, they freaking call the anesthesiologist, they knock you out. The next thing you wake up and you're in a new room and you're like, yeah, you're all good and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow. So you prep hard for something you're not even going to know and remember. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So I just gave y'all the lowdown. If any of y'all got questions, don't call me. I'm just
Bruh.
no, I just played.
You do hear it. I mean,
Yes.
I feel like, yeah, across the board, I'm hearing from people how horrible it is. And it is like the prep, like you said, the drinking and the starving. And
Yes.
it's like a life-saving procedure, right, though? Like, real good to do. And
Hey, look, you can't mess around with those things.
Yeah.
You know, it's something you need to do. And, you know, I have some other medical things going on. So it's definitely like something that's like, I need to do it.
Yes.
It's not a question about it. And I'm glad to do it. And I love my doctor. I want to give a big shout out to Theta Care. They have wonderful people in place. The nurses were amazing. The system in which they had in place, because you checked in and I was able to give my wife like an ID number, and then where she was able to track what was going on with the procedure on a screen.
oh,
Where they tell you, you know, they're in this point, they're at this point here, they're at this point, they're in recovery and all this. And she could see it on a screen and watch it. And there was texting. So, I mean, this was smooth as pie. So huge shout out to Theta Care for the process. But let me tell you what the rough part is. It's the prep. The prep is rough.
Bruh.
mentally and physically, probably.
Ooh, yes. There's warnings. And you know what I'm going to say? Look, if y'all can help it, you know, try not to be in a space with a single bathroom. It's a rough thing if you live with people. That's not going to go well.
Oh my God, we appreciate you being real, so we can plan better for
Plan better.
Yeah.
All right. That is my what in the world is going on with. See, you weren't expecting all
I
that.
wasn't. I
Well,
love it.
I have no shame.
Yeah, and as you shouldn't.
No.
And I think a lot more people are facing that and probably like, I didn't know it was so bad. And it's like, well, good thing, Timber, you're sharing with people so they know they're not alone.
Oh no, I think anybody that goes through it, they understand. Like after that first, like you go through it, and here's the thing: I hadn't had one in a long time, so I had kind of forgot a lot of it. I had one of my sister-in-laws who actually had gone through it more recently and was given like the helpful hints out there. And it was like, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, all right. That's what's up. Okay. And so, yeah, it was good advice. So, you know, if there's listeners out there and it's coming about that time, get you some helpful hints out there.
Ask Timber any questions you got.
Hey, I will be helpful where I can be helpful. That is always the key. I'm always trying to help the community.
And that's why we love you.
Hey, facts.
Bruh.
All right. Next segment is called 21 Questions. 21 Questions is we don't have 21 actual questions, but these are such good questions. We think like it might solicit 21 great answers. Maybe. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, first question. Tess, what are you grateful for?
My happy and healthy son, for sure. I have a 5-year-old son who I love dearly. And I just wake up very happy every day and grateful knowing that I have him and was blessed with him in this life. And I would say just waking up and like you said, like our earth and the sun and my home and my dogs and love and all that good stuff.
Fair. What motivates you?
Having one life and like wanting to make the best of it and wanting to act on my internal knowing and my son for sure.
What grounds you?
Nature. Totally nature. Sitting outside, standing in the grass, swimming, looking at the trees and the sky, the moon, like nature.
What does success look like to you?
Freedom and like happiness. And like freedom encompasses a lot. I think like time, financially, for myself, for others, and like helping people. But I think if it were like one thing, it would be freedom for myself and others all around.
What irritates you?
Oh my God, the systems in place. whether it's like the judicial system or the healthcare system. I was happy to hear you say you thought that Theta Care had a good process, because the healthcare system does irritate me sometimes. Like our financial system, banking system, capitalism, racism. Yeah. Something else that irritates me that I don't think I would have known, and kind of like touching on with the healthcare system, is like that we never talk about assisted death or like helping people. My dad just passed away this past August, and he had a quick battle with cancer. So it's like all heightened with the healthcare system, and like in that part, like I definitely have irritations towards that system and structure. But then, yeah, I think seeing him, knowing he's going to pass away for like 4 months, I don't think I ever knew, like, he was ready to go. He knew he was going, it was really awful. And I'd never been in that position to know, like, wow, he would have gone, and we all would have helped him go ahead. He could have, you're going to die. I don't know. That's something random that irritates me. But like, that's another thing I just don't feel like any of us ever talk about. We have sick people all over, and they just have to like hang on till their last breath. I don't know if that's like helpful and right. And we help pets more than we help humans that way. So that was an interesting little thing to feel that I had never known. And I thought, wow, that's just like a topic that we don't ever discuss or talk about, but kind of irritates me that we don't talk about it or help our humans a little more. Kind of like the worst, scariest part in anyone's life, I bet.
Normally, what I'm going to say is normally during this segment, I don't break away from the questions, but I'm going to, because I think that is such an interesting point. And yeah, that we don't talk about it at all.
No.
And how you correlated that and related that to like when we know our pets are gonna suffer, we make sure they don't.
'Cause why? Like what are those 2 months or that week that we
if
would
that's
do
where
that
the
to our pet if
that's where the right, if you know, or and if that's where the person is at.
Yes.
Like that's.
And like when all their family stands behind that, and it's just awful for everybody, mostly awful for that one person
who's suffering,
right. And who should have that decision. Like in that case, what's the point in the extra month of suffering? I don't know. Yeah, it was a wild little wake up call of like, oh, something else we don't ever talk about that just doesn't feel right.
I don't know how we talk about that.
We just say it.
It's something that I agree with you. It's something that I think we need to talk about, but I don't know how to have that conversation myself. There's a part of me that thinks you're right, and then there's another part of me that is so highly uncomfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
That's just like, oh my God, yes, but I don't know how to have that conversation.
I was just so close in it so recently with someone like I loved so much, and
right,
like more than just about anything. And then to see that just would be his last wish, and then to not let him have that for himself and not let him have that for all of us. Nothing good came out of the last, month or two. Like it wasn't necessary. And not have been in that situation that close, I wouldn't have felt so comfortable and so sure that was the right thing. And,
right.
It's weird.
Nah, it's real. And I do think it's a conversation like that. We can create solutions for anything if we choose to. And maybe there's something there where it's this discussion between family and the individual and their medical providers and all of that, and they should be able to come to that, because I agree. Sometimes people just want to end their life with the dignity, with dignity. If
waiting for a last breath is super troubling and traumatizing when you don't feel good. You're not like wanting to say goodbye because you're fucking sick. Like you're going. And like, why, like, couldn't it have ended beautifully? Like it could have. And instead, like, we just create more suffering. It just doesn't make sense.
Kosh listeners, this one is, I think we just got 1,000% real.
Bruh.
And I would actually like to hear what y'all have to say about this. I'm just going to throw this out here. Please feel free to call and leave us a message and tell us what you think about this particular topic, because I would love to hear more people's thoughts behind it. Kosh does have a phone number. We have a voicemail, 920-385-5073. 920-385-5073, or email us at askthekosh@gmail.com, because I do think this is, let's talk about this.
That's all I'm saying. I'm curious if other people have been in that situation and feel the same too, because it was very clear to myself, and I know my dad too.
All right, back on track.
Thank you.
All right. What scares you?
Probably ties right back into that seeing those I love sick. I think it's why I love doing what I do, because I do believe that I get to help people who are sick every day. And it's super scary seeing those you love sick and not being able to help them. Yeah, or maybe, I used to be scared to lose my dad or lose people. I think it's just super scary to, at the end of the day, to just see them suffer.
What recharges your soul?
My girlfriends, for sure. Just hanging with my girlfriends, being Tess, letting everything else go, and just, being Tess.
How do you define love?
I thought about this one a lot, because I think there's so many different types of love that I think it was hard for me to define one, because I do find that I have lots of different love within, but I feel like overall it's a very deep caring for something or someone, an internal, really deep, because it's not always a positive, love can be you love somebody, but you can't you have to love them from afar, or you can't, we always feel like love is just so happy and butterflies, and I love that kind of love, but I don't know, I think it's more, I think it's this deep feeling towards somebody, caring feeling towards somebody or something.
What is the most memorable life lesson you've learned from a parent, a guardian, or a mentor?
Probably go in with maybe one from each of my parents. My mom, I would say just taking care of myself, taking care of my family, taking care of business. And my dad, definitely one day at a time. That's how he lived his life. And I heard that from the time I was just a little girl, and it saved me a number of times. And just to be a rock and be healthy within, and how when you're healthy within and you take things one day at a time and you're happy and healthy and fun, you can share those gifts with others. And my dad was really good at that, staying a rock and happy and healthy, and and just giving that to others, sharing his, making sure he's healthy and happy so he can share with others. And that's just where I like to be, is making sure I'm good so I can be good for helping others. And sharing my gifts with others too. I just think that that's so important in our one life.
All right. You have survived 21 questions. And I also just want to take a moment and just say thank you for your honesty. Thank you for being willing to share with me and the Kosh listeners with strength and authenticity and vulnerability. Yeah, that's powerful. Okay. You ready for the next segment?
I'm ready.
The next segment is called Word Association. So that's where we're going to throw some words at you, and you're going to tell us what comes to your mind. All right. And we do have a long-standing tradition here on the Kosh. We always start with the same word. It is the word of family. It is the word of happiness. It is the word of community. It is the word of unity. That word is food.
I am a foodie. I love food.
Bruh.
And I love how you tied all that with community and family, because when I think of it, it's my favorite foods that I've been have been made for me by family and I've shared with others. Like I think of dumplings, potato dumplings from my Nana Hildy. I think of Eggs Benedict from my Aunt Sheila. Tacos and pizza, and I love exploring Oshkosh food. But I have like certain foods that are just my favorite. They're mostly carbs and, like all like of that. But I feel like it's things that like women or men have made me that then I've learned to make, and like I just love, and I love all food. Yeah. It is such a good thing to share with others and to talk about.
Okay, I want to talk about these dumplings.
Yeah.
All right. Are these dumplings or are these sinkers? Because, I've heard these terms floated in the Kosh. And since you are from the Kosh, and I'm going to assume these aunts are from the Kosh.
Well, my Nana Hildy is from Manitowoc.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and she's the one who started potato dumplings, like shredding the potatoes. And they're like, I would say they float to the top when you boil them. So they're like little floaters, but they're like dense little, and they're like little. Like that size and they're not like a huge.
Okay.
And then so she like would grate the potatoes, add the egg and the flour, create this perfect mixture. I can remember her in her kitchen just being like, it's all about the spoon test. And if it drops like this dumpling dough, if it drops off the spoon into the boiling water, you know that the consistency is just right. And then she would fry them up with butter and bacon bits.
Ooh.
Salt, pepper.
Ooh.
And like you could just eat them cold out of the fridge. You could warm them up the next day.
Oh.
Like you could eat them for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or any snack in between.
All purpose.
Yeah. And she'd fry them on up and like, oh yeah.
I'm not going to lie. You're making me excited. Like
Yeah.
I need to have these.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you know the next time I make them.
Oh, so you've got the recipe.
I do, yes.
She blessed you with it. She didn't just hold on to it.
No, she didn't. And she taught me, and then she taught my dad, and he got good at it, and I was able to do it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. They're good.
See, because those kinds of recipes don't always get passed on.
No.
Or at least not accurately.
Yeah.
There's always that missing ingredient.
And I have always loved to eat, so I always made sure to like collect this info, and I'd like to like do it with them when I was little. It's like I wanted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
I see how you got down.
Yeah.
Okay. Cocktail or beer?
Oh, and this one I'm taking to a THC mocktail drink, and I'm going to shout out to Fifth Ward Brewery for them creating these THC seltzers. They started bringing some out 420, and now they just came out this last week with another one. So that's what I'm rocking right now. It's not cocktail or beer, just my little THC drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I've heard we had a guest not that long ago come on, and the food co-op has started carrying some.
Yes.
And so my wife picked me up some.
Okay.
Yes. And and for Father's Day, my daughter picked me up some.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Oh yeah.
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 And the sodas. They have the Foundry sodas,
Yes,
I believe.
there's sodas or seltzers. They're not
seltzers.
alcoholic.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely seltzers though. And you know what I did? I sat and I watched a movie, and I was very into the movie.
Cool.
And it was very chill. I just had I had no worries, no troubles, just a chill evening watching just TV and hanging out with the wife, and it was fantastic.
Sounds excellent.
It was excellent.
The co-op has been doing really good like that. They do carry our Cole products, and then I've, been like just so proud of them as I've seen them dive into these other, and really just putting it out there too, which just helps the whole thing.
Okay.
And I love that your wife and daughter got you some.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like they be trying to take care of Dad.
And Wagner Market also has sourced many good ones too that I hear from many of like my customers that they're loving too. So they're around town, and they're in bars now too.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they're coming more around.
Oh yeah. I think I had my first one in a bar, and I was sitting next to somebody, or actually I was having this conversation with one of the bartenders, and they were just ranting and raving about them, and I was like, all right, let me try one, right? But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home. because I was just like,
ready.
yeah, I was like, I'm gonna try this, and then I was like, well, my bigger thing was like, since I wasn't 100% sure about how I was gonna feel.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, I'm gonna go home then, and then I can figure it out, right? And it was fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, like it was super chill, and that's been my experience with all of the ones that I, not that I've tried a ton of them, but the ones that I have tried so far. Super awesome experience as far as what I from my evaluation.
Good. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I also like them, but I want to try your jalapeno blackberry situation too.
Oh, you need to go ahead and have you one of those.
I do.
Yeah, we're gonna send that shout out to Sunken Paddle. They are yummy, and maybe I don't know. Maybe that's something for them. Maybe that's a conversation.
I know. I have always loved seeing Doug at the co-op and, sampling his ciders there while I'm there. And yeah, I know. I'm going to have to stop in there one of these days.
Are you tabling at the co-op?
Like, I have my products there and then I sample at different times.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't caught you yet for one of those. That sounds like I need to have better timing. All right. No, I love where you went there. Shop local.
Well, I just think Main Street, I grew up and Main Street was not what it is now. So I just like all around Main Street. It's exciting to see it come about and be alive and thrive. And the businesses are, full down there. I would just say Main Street. I mean, the co-op too, of course, so local, but.
The Main Street is transforming. I don't think it's done, though.
No, it is not. It's so much better than what I remember. It was just like a dying thing when I was growing up and young. I mean, it just felt like there was the few places, but then lots of empty, not life, was this, I don't know. But it is transforming.
Big time.
And the collection of people and community and openness, and it feels good.
It feels like a good time if you hang out there.
Yes.
One of my favorite places is Time Theater. I love a good comedy show.
Do you?
Oh, big shout out to Fox Valley Comedy and our man Lyle.
Yes, Lyle, I've just met him.
Oh,
we just kind of connected. We found each other online, but
that is a great gentleman right there.
Yes.
And you got to go see some of these shows. He brings in some really cool comics into the region.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you touched on that because, I do need to make time for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. To me, it seems like some of those products and comedy could go hand in hand.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I need to do a little weed pop-up there.
Facts. Bruh. I like how you put that. Weed pop-up. Yes, I don't think there would be any harm in that. Actually, I think that would be. Now, that is a partnership.
Yes.
Meant to be.
Yes.
Okay. Concert.
And this is not an Oshkosh one. This is the last concert I attended was Mariah Carey in Vegas.
Bruh.
With my two best friends that I was saying recharge my soul like no other. We went and did like a 3 little day in Vegas because we all just turned 40 and it was like, well, who are we going to see? And who's, at residency? So we went and saw our Princess Mariah and she was quite the princess. And it was freaking hilarious and brought me back.
Was it a fabulous show?
It was. It was probably a fabulous show because I was with my two best friends and we were singing our heart out to, songs that, again, we've, been listening to for many moons and getting all the feels from. I mean, Mariah Carey did not move a finger. She was like, laying on a couch and like looking beautiful the entire time, but yeah, no, it was absolutely fabulous.
That does feel like what I might expect from a Mariah Carey concert. Like she ain't doing no dance moves.
Oh no, she didn't. She sat on a couch and looked pretty and literally did not move a finger. She sounded fabulous. She had everyone like into it, but it was just her voice that needed to come. Like it was not, and then Tyra Banks and Heidi Klum made a little appearance, which was also like
they were in the crowd.
And they came up on stage and hung out with her for a little bit and like, yeah. It was like, I mean,
That's for real, for real.
it was awesome.
Okay. That's fire. Streaming.
Oh my God. And I have nothing for this. I have not been like very in tuned with my phone, TV. I've been a busy woman, so I have not like.
Wow.
Yeah,
nothing?
I know.
So that you're not. Well, let me just ask all the questions then. Let me cover all the bases. Okay. We're not watching. There's nothing on TV we're watching at this point in time.
I do not watch TV.
Okay. Audiobooks, podcasts.
I mean, I've listened to yours and random other ones, but no, I have been like in a dead zone. I feel like
you're going hard.
Year. I have been going hard.
All right, let me ask this. Okay, you do have social media presence. Okay, is there anything social media wise that has caught you?
Yes, TikTok. I definitely scroll my TikTok. So if I'm gonna be like, my half an hour before bed, and I've been like reading some books. I've been trying to connect with that a little, so I'll give myself a little credit on some books. But no, I'll like flip through TikTok, and so many people hate TikTok, but I find that just like a little bit, I don't always have time to like connect with recipes or other women, like what they're up to, what they're wearing, like kind of to find like inspiration.
Right.
And I find that when I scroll through TikTok, I do find inspiration for like cooking, for something for me and my son to do, for what I want to like go shop for clothes, or like my garden. Like I learn things from people, and I also learn things that I don't think I'd ever learn from all these people, like you learn what's going on. You learn other little things, kind of like things we're talking about that aren't talked about. And it's like, I'm sure that's why, people don't want TikTok around, because it's just this whole host of people being able to share information. And I just love that. I mean, I don't know. I love being able to like learn from people. I don't have enough time to be like hanging out with my friends all the time and doing things. So it's like I get to kind of like connect in this weird way and learn, maybe get some new songs I want to like listen to, or.
I don't have a TikTok.
And I don't post on it. I just
you're just consuming.
I'm
But
consuming.
see, that's the reason. Because here's what I've been warned about.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about how awesome it is, but I have been warned it will take 3 hours from you like nobody's business, and you won't even know.
It's true. It's true.
Like you'll just 3 hours in the TikTok, you don't even know that 3 hours have passed because you're scrolling and it's stuff that's you're interested in. It that algorithm is powerful.
It is powerful.
It knows you.
And it is a little scary how quick the info comes. I would say that is like the scariest thing for me. And I don't try to consume 3 hours, but I do probably consume a half an hour, to where it is a crazy amount of information, because you are doing a 3-second video. Like you're not sitting on things, too long, 3 to 10 seconds. So you do get done and your brain is full of consuming things too fast, for sure. But it's like, where can you connect with all that info and all that knowledge so fast? And like, I don't know.
I'm toying with the idea of getting a TikTok.
And you got to give it time too, because you got to get your algorithm. So I find like I'll tell people I like it, and they get on there like, I don't find anything, I don't know. It's like, oh, just give it time. It'll do its thing.
I just want to use it for the cash. I want to share with it.
And that would be a really good, so good.
That's what I'm thinking.
And like how you could do like your how you have found like the really good sentence of people, or like the powerful statement in your, it's like to put that out there.
Yeah.
Viral.
I think it would be cool. Okay. Entrepreneurship.
I mean, I just love entrepreneurship. So I just like want to love it for everybody. I'm always trying to like remind people that they're capable and can do it, and like, yeah, one step at a time type of thing. I think the 9 to 5 is so, all part of the capitalist world of like kind of we're trained to like, I don't know. I just think it's so cool to like break off from that and be like, I'm going to make my own money. And like, and I don't think we give credit to people of how like hard it is to make your own money every day to feed your family. And like what you got coming in is what you got coming in. Like you are literally responsible for every cent. And then like, yeah, putting it out there. Like I want that for everyone. And it's not right for everyone. So I need to like always make sure to not like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur.
No.
Because it's not easy.
It's not. It's not at all. And it's like dedication, and you definitely don't see results right away. It's one of those things that you got to like be in for the long term and hang in there. And it's like a year thing. It's like, you hit that 3 to 5 year mark, you hit the 7 year mark, the 10 year mark. It's like you're just building. But it's so nice to have that freedom and like take control of your schedule like that in your day. And I just feel like the human was not meant to be away from their home from 9 to 5 and come home and have all these things to do. Like, I just don't think that helps the human experience. And our lives are all so short anyways. And I just think entrepreneurship allows a little more you to have that human experience. I think that there's like really hard things along with it, but it's also, it's just so cool.
Is there anything as an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur with a very unique product? Is there anything you think you could share with entrepreneur hopefuls?
Oh, yeah. I mean, motivation, excitement, or just even the tools. I mean, I've definitely thought about,
Did you use like any of the things out here, like the scores and the small business SBDC? I don't know. There's multiples. WIBIC.
I've touched with them a little, but no. So I was a financial advisor with Thrivent for like 7 years, 10 years, somewhere in there. And that gave me the baseline, I would say, of like, they kind of taught you like how to kind of structure it, but you're still working with a company, but you kind of a contractor to where you're understanding paying rent and having to, make your money that way. But then, and she kind of helped me like figure out too, some of just like how to put it out there, how to do the process, whether it's just like how do you get it started with your LLC versus how do you do social media, so many of the parts, because you're just doing all these things alone where, no, I just kind of throw myself out there and then, learn. But I do think I could help people. Like it's easier said than done, or, it's easier to do. It's not as hard as you think to set this up for yourself. And then also you are, taking control of like your taxes that way and other things where like other people are going to take care of it for you, if you don't kind of like, they're doing their things to have their tax breaks and whatever. And it's like, well, as a small business owner, like you can learn to do these things for yourself. So there's a lot of things like, yeah, I do think I could share with people. And I think sometimes the organizations are great, but like, yeah, talking to somebody and finding somebody who's willing to share and like not wanting to hoard the information. It's not going to like hurt me sharing what I've done. And like, is somebody going to be able to even do it? Is somebody going to do it better, worse? Like it's somebody else is going to do it different. It's not going to be like, so I think, yeah, I do think about helping people like that though, in that sense. I want to be able to do more of that. Cause I love that for people. And I think if people like believed in themselves that they could do it, and just had somebody like to put some things in place that even more people would do it.
I just think sometimes the process is a little intimidating. Like when you don't know what you don't know, you don't just know even where to start from.
Yeah.
That's what I think sometimes, just from conversations that I get to have with individuals who want to be entrepreneurs or are looking at it or thinking about it.
Send them my way if you ever find somebody. I'll chat at them.
I shall. I might take your class.
Do it.
All right. Last word. Diversity.
Yes. Growing up in Oshkosh, I feel like I did not see as much diversity as now. And I'm proud of Oshkosh for creating safe spaces and for like putting people in positions of influence and power to like help manage the diversity too, and to make sure that there are these safe spaces in, there is definitely more diversity now than there was 20, 30 years ago. And I feel like in our community, I did experience I saw racism in every pocket, I bet every job I've had, every, most situations. And I feel like Oshkosh has just come so much more from that. I feel like there's so much more to go, but I'm proud of when I hear different things of people out there who are, creating safe spaces, creating voices, and just really like honoring the diversity that like our city hasn't always had and hasn't always honored. And we don't honor it in ways. And it's nice to see Oshkosh grow and just do better.
I appreciate that, particularly from somebody who's born and raised. And yes, Oshkosh has come a long ways, and we still got a ways to go. But I am proud of where Oshkosh is headed. And I think the next step for the Kosh in particular is to make sure these voices are in the processes, the planning processes, the development processes at the table when decisions are being made, because they are community. They are part of the fabric and rich tapestry of the community now. And so, like, if we're going to build a better Kosh for everyone in the future, we need to make sure we're taking into account how all these different identities and voices feel in the Kosh as we make these plans.
And it's beautiful. And it's exciting.
It will be.
Yeah, and it's getting there. Like, there is pockets of people who are just standing out and putting themselves out, and I just love it.
We definitely got some people that
You know?
We've got some strong voices in some spaces.
I love it. I learn, and it just makes me proud.
All right. Next segment. The Kosh Hidden Gems. This is your opportunity to share a hidden gem with the Kosh listeners. It can be something that you don't think Kosh listeners know very much about, or maybe it's something we all know, but maybe we don't know the details about it. What's your hidden gem?
Oh my God, I had so many.
Oh,
it's
Tess, you ain't got
one.
Well, Tess, you don't gotta say one. We here. we rolling with you. Go on.
I mean, first and foremost, Wagner Market's gonna be the gem of all gems.
Bruh.
Facts. They're awesome.
There's just
Big
no
shout out to
comparison.
them.
And it's like, it's not only Wagner Market, but like, I mean, Chris and Sarah Larson are hidden gems of, I don't know, hidden, but they're freaking gems of Oshkosh as well.
I was gonna say hidden, maybe not.
Yeah, no, not hidden, but gems. And Wagner Market's not hidden either, but it's, that first and foremost. Okay, and then I also, I know this is going on and people are maybe like over it at the moment, but I think EAA is a gem. I have been going out there for years. I think of all the events that go on in Oshkosh, it is a class act. It is super cool, like world event. Like, I don't have any like relation to airplanes or like, interest, and like love it all. Like, I just think it's really cool what goes on in this little area of Oshkosh that becomes like its own city.
It's massive.
It's massive. And if you go out there, you feel like you're in a different area. You don't feel like you're in Oshkosh anymore. And like the type of people that come are just, they're all really enthusiastic and like interested. There's not like, whenever I go out there, it's just clean, and like they've done a really good job also of bringing like local food businesses. 10 plus years ago, there was like one place or a couple places that you could get food out there. Now it's like they're bringing in local everything. Yeah, I just think it's a really cool thing. I think that there are obviously issues, and we always want to like, make sure we're, doing everything right when we have this much dollars coming in for our community, this many people. There's always things that could get better or change, but I do think it's quite the little hidden gem. And if people don't go out there, mostly our community, if they get free wristbands, they'll go out. It's like, it is worth it to pay that $60-$70 or whatever it is per ticket. Like, I really, if you get over the driving and like the traffic of it, and you get out there and you go to enjoy a day, like, you are bound to enjoy your day.
Yes.
So, okay, and then I could just keep going. I mean, the lake spots in Oshkosh, from growing up in Oshkosh, there's so many good little lake spots just to go and like sit, throw a hammock up, like take your dog swimming. And I feel like that is a little hidden gem of Oshkosh. And then I'm going to wrap it up with, on the outsides of Oshkosh, in the springtime, you can hunt for asparagus.
What? Wait,
Literally.
this is new. This is new because we are that family, and if me and where should we be hunting?
Yes, literally. I had to get over like hunting in the ditches for asparagus for my food, and once I did, I realized like, okay, so you got like Witzel Street and 9th Street, how they go out towards like Waukon and Amro. Mm-hmm. And so like specifically Witzel, which is 4th, and then 9th Street. And any of those roads, once you get past Oshkosh, and they're like the crossroads, you got to get, I think it's like past F or double F. So a little ways out there where you're kind of half between Oshkosh and Waukon-ish. In the springtime, like the asparagus are going to come up in your garden first, I believe it is. And then around that time, you have a few weeks where the biggest, most beautiful wild asparagus are growing in ditches right outside of Oshkosh, and you can go and take a little country walk, and you bring your knife and you bring your bag and you go cut asparagus. And I'm telling you, these asparagus are like no other asparagus you are going to get, even at like a farmer's market. They are just like huge and thick and purple and pink and white and fresh and from the ditch. And like, oh yeah, you'll have like people like also out there collecting asparagus and like getting mad and like they'll get like, like possessive over their spots, like you're in my spot, you got my asparagus. I mean, it's good. And it's like, go take a nature walk, come home with your big bag of asparagus and like,
wow,
for free.
That's okay.
It's really random.
That's new.
I lived out that way for like 8 years and found this like just by taking my dog on a walk, like there's asparagus and then trying them. And it's like, yeah.
That's bold.
I know.
And kind of cool.
And because you're on like country roads walking, so you're kind of doing this quick. You might just be even like hopping in and out of your car and like getting your ditch asparagus.
Ditch asparagus. That is a new term here on the Kosh. Ditch asparagus. I would like to challenge somebody to come back with I need more ditch asparagus stories.
Yeah.
This is fascinating to me.
Because there is like, they get crazy and possessive and like, or people like, are like, what is that crazy lady doing?
They're collecting ditch asparagus.
And it's fantastic.
Okay. We got to come up with a better name than ditch asparagus.
I know.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
We'll work on that. Okay, now that is a hidden gem, and that's a new one for the Kosh. Never heard of that. Okay. Well, at this time, we're going to take a short commercial break.
Did you know there are children in the Fox Valley in need of hearing aids, but their parents struggle to provide them because of lack of insurance or high copays? I am Juliette Sturkins, audiologist and board member of Here in the Fox Cities, and proud that this small local nonprofit organization has helped fund hearing aids for some 30 kids. Your donation would help more children hear. Visit hereinthefoxcities.org to learn more and to see their smiles. Every child deserves to hear.
All right, and we are back, and we are rolling into the next segment, which is my favorite segment here on the Kosh, and that segment is called Story Time. Story Time is an opportunity for our guests to tell the Kosh listeners a story. It can be a story about absolutely anything. Now, the cool thing is, Tess has already been good to us with the stories. Tess has interwoven multiple stories throughout this episode. So we're going to see what Tess might have left to share with us.
Okay. So recently I connected with a scientist down in Madison who's doing like really bigger picture things with hemp that are super cool and good to think about. More in the lines of knowing like this one plant like can heal people, pets, but like the earth too. And then like, how are we going to go about this in like a bigger scale way? And like really looking at the plastic and paper industry and thinking about like, okay, so we think about cannabis as daily medicine for people and pets, a way to relax. But the component of hemp has so much like, I mean, we can build homes with hemp. We can build clothes with hemp. We have these very large infrastructures in place, whether it's, with our country's infrastructures or with these privately owned big businesses that are, pumping out plastic, pumping out paper. And the scientist is looking at creating something like getting one of these companies, especially with our industry here in Wisconsin, to create some sort of little innovative area. Just, not change all of this company's infrastructure, which is why, most likely you don't want to try hemp when you have paper or plastic because you have your structures already in place and whatnot. You have your customers in place. But just to create like this little innovative, like test run, like how can we get one of these big companies to just create some sort of structure in place to like start playing with this? Like when, hemp, just planting cannabis in the ground cleans soil. So, like just it doing its thing, like clean soil, which is like, okay, so it's cleaning the earth. It's helping people with, medicine, daily medicine, big to small things, but that like we could do a whole lot more for our world through this one plant and just like trying to get these companies to take on it. So he was looking at more of local stories where then I was sharing what I was doing and whatever, but got to like hear about what these other people are doing in our country that are on like, a bigger vision scale of cannabis and hemp. And, we can heal the world by like stopping, putting people in prison for it or getting people out of prison for it. Like this one plant like can literally heal more things in one swipe than I can think of anything. And so I just think it's so cool that there are people like that are just really trying to get this in a bigger scale and like also change the narrative. Like what has been put in our brain over this year, over the years, like I can remember the commercials with the frying pan and the egg. This is what's going to happen to your brain on drugs or on, marijuana. You're going to stay in your parents' basement. Your brain cells are going to die. When in reality, CBD, THC, cannabis, it activates your brain cells. Like your neurons, we have a system called an endocannabinoid system ready for these to regulate all of our processes in our body. It's just wild. It's just from A to Z. I feel like we could make a really big swipe with hemp. And I feel like, what I'm doing is cool, but like there are people out there like trying to do this on a much bigger scale and like put new messages out of like, the reality and the truth. And probably like, okay, so we were told these one things that kills brain cells. Well, let's think about, propaganda. What it probably is because it activates brain cells. Like if we really think of like what we've been told, it's a much even bigger scale than anything that I've even talked about or I'm up to, there's people doing really awesome things with cannabis out there.
Okay. Well, I think this is going to roll us right into our topic of the week. Every single time, that just feels good.
Yes, it does.
All right, it is time for the topic of the week. And the topic of the week is chosen by our guests 99.9% of the time. And this week is no different. So, Tess, what is our topic of the week?
The natural medicine, specifically cannabis, and our endocannabinoid system.
Okay, you were starting to get into this endocannabinoid. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Look at that. Timber's having a good day.
Yeah.
And let's go.
So our body has a specific system for cannabinoids, which cannabinoids are what's THC, what's CBD, what are all found in the cannabis plant. Every human has a system that we've learned nothing about. We don't even know the term often, but we have a scientifically, developed endocannabinoid system where our body knows exactly what to do with cannabinoids, and it regulates every system in our body. Not just one system, every system. Our digestive system, our nervous system, everything. And over the years of not having hemp and marijuana, what has that done to people's systems? Has it made it go out of haywire in different ways? We used to have abundant hemp in our country, specifically in Wisconsin, growing feral to where our cows are eating it. Our, other animals are being fed it. We're able to consume it. So we're getting our cannabinoids, not just from, smoking it or eating hemp or marijuana, but by eating the cows that used to eat it. We were getting our cannabinoids every which way, and now we haven't for so long. And I do wonder what that's done to people mentally, physically, not being able to just have it for the medicine, but we have this system that, again, helps regulate all of our systems, and we see people whose systems are out of whack all the time now. And maybe there's a correlation to that. I think natural medicine and what the earth puts out is so much more powerful than we're led to believe a lot. When I was young, my grandpa had cancer, and he was lucky enough to be traveling around in China at the time with a group from actually Kits and File, the Staples, like just a group to travel.
What?
And he got hooked up with this. They went up into the mountains for one of their little adventures, and they met this Dr. Ho in the mountains. And my grandpa connected with him, had just gotten diagnosed with this cancer, lymphoma, I believe it was at that time. And Dr. Ho said he thought he could help him and that he would start shipping this other person in the United States and then to my grandpa this hay that my grandpa needed to make into a tea. So he starts getting this hay. Dr. Ho starts sending it to this man in the United States. My grandpa gets it. He makes this tea from this hay. He has this cancer, this deadly cancer for, 25 plus years before he ends up dying. He ended up, like, the tumors were, like, dissipating. They were getting smaller. They were getting less, going from one big one to, like, multiple little ones. Mayo Clinic's doing studies on him. Nothing ever really came about it. But, like, I mean, the type of deadly cancers that he rocked as an old man, like, this hay helped him. And I think that was my eye-opening experience to, like, nature does heal, and we do have these things. We just don't know about them. We're just so pushed with processed medicine that that's what we think's, what we need. But our system as humans, like, it really, it works with the natural medicine. Like, that's how it knows how to work. That's what the earth was intended for it. And I don't think the endocannabinoid system's any different. I mean, I believe after 100 years of prohibiting this, I think it's hurt us, and I think that we need it for more. Like the hemp aspect is, so CBD is going to be like your calm, relax, no high. You're utilizing the cannabis plant without getting high, to where, like, we all should be getting that. I mean, I don't think it's bad for any age to be getting that cannabinoid. And I think it's helpful and, like, brain physically.
That makes sense to me. I mean, everything that you've said to me makes sense. And the thing that I've always thought in the conversation with weed that didn't make sense to me is, like, if you can grow it out of the ground and not process it any kind of way and utilize it in its most natural form, how bad can it be? That's just always been my thought process.
Well, and, like, even, like, let's say, like, opium, people growing, like, the plant, where it's like, we know that's stronger and probably we don't want everyone to be rocking that. But at the end of the day, plant itself is not as addictive as what we, when we process it.
And we processed and created something else.
And yeah, so it's like there is a medicine out there that can even stronger than marijuana, that is less addictive in that natural state. Like, if the world is producing it, like, it is there for people, and it's probably going to do better in your body than this, the prescription pills, what I like to call processed medicine.
Yeah, well, it just makes sense to me. I mean, it's no different. I mean, if we use the same logic as, like, processed foods, and we always talk about how processed foods are, like, the worst foods for you, and, like, if there's anything that's going to kind of throw your body out of alignment and you gain weight and the nutrients aren't being processed the same way, it's over processed foods. It's always stay away from processed foods. Try to eat natural foods, right? How is that philosophy any different for medicine?
I don't feel it is. And in my heart, I really feel like processed medicine is like processed food, and we're opening our eyes to, like, the last how many years of this processed food and, like, what the United States allows in our processed food that other countries aren't allowing. And, like, we all know that processed food is, like, yeah, fabulous and we love it, but, like, it doesn't make us feel good. It doesn't make our guts feel good. It doesn't make our brain feel good.
Right.
And, like, we also know this with processed medicine, that it's causing side effects. Like, it's often the side effects are worse than the...
Well, I mean, we got those commercials with the 32 side effects listed for you to tell you.
But yet people are not afraid to take that, but they come and they're so nervous to try cannabis.
That math ain't mathing.
It ain't mathing, and I see it every day.
Okay, let's go a different direction. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. Because of what you've just brought up. The name of your business is?
Arcole Hemp.
What happens if I come there? Like, and let's just say I am totally unaware. I know nothing. I've been fed all of these things just like every other person has through whatever, but I've decided, you know what? Since the math ain't mathin', I want to go to a place. I'm totally ignorant, but I want to at least go learn. I want to give it a chance. So I walk into your establishment. What can I expect?
You can expect to see my smiling face and be warm and welcome.
Hey, we're feeling that.
And a whole lot of products, and coming in and me just wanting to talk to you about what's going on, what made you want to come in, what's maybe affecting you that you're wanting to try this. Have you ever consumed before? And really starting somebody probably in that sense out in like a very light sense. You know, what do they want? Do they want the calm, relax, no high? Do they want to get a little high? And like talking about these things and letting them know like this is a safe space that I've created here to talk about it and talk about your health, talk about your fears about it. You know, let's really like nail down some of the things that aren't true and, you know, using some of the words. I hate using the word high because I feel like you don't walk around when people are on their anti-anxiety medicine or antidepressant medicine or pain pills, which you are getting high from. You know, we don't walk around saying, oh, they're high. Like we don't, you know, so I hate using that word. So I try to like let people know how like gentle and safe cannabis is. And like, it's not scary. We don't have to fear it. And really like starting somebody out like that in a very light situation where they're going to have a positive experience and they're going to, you know, they're going to want to come back and try something and just like, yeah, helping people.
Okay. So let's talk about, so I'm walking in, I meet your smiling face. We've declared that.
Bruh.
And you're helping to demystify some of the things,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what I think happens. I think there's a demystification process that needs to happen if there's not familiarity, right? What are some of the products that I can expect to see?
Yeah. So my products, oil, gummies, pain salve, really nice way for people to start, like those topicals, you know, like a cream is a really nice way for people to start. And even like the drinks have become really popular. I have a whole collection of drinks from a 2.5 milligram to a bottle with 160 plus milligrams. Drinks are a really like easily way consumable for people at first to just try, you know, so whether it's the drinks or the gummies, but always like really starting people off on like low milligrams to make sure, you know, you're going to go in light and you're not going to have a bad experience and maybe take too much at first. We also have flour, which is going to be probably my most, you know, that's putting it out there. That's like is not as,
Wait, when you say flour, are we talking about the flour or are we talking about flour like baking with?
Nope. So flour we're going to smoke like
Okay.
in a bowl or in
Got
a
it.
pipe or in a joint.
Got it.
And so that's going to be kind of the most out there, you know, like that's like the real deal, the raw thing. I mean, that's what I personally find it's going to be better than anything because you are getting what the plant intended. You know, taking like one little puff of a flower is going to give you like what the plant intended for you to feel. That full spectrum, you're getting how the plant intended. Once we start messing around with drinks and gummies and things, we are using science, like a lab situation to pull out different cannabinoids and put them in these processed, you know, forms that are really easily consumable for people. The flower has more of the connotation of like the dirtiness, which, you know, I try to like have it not be because I believe it's in its truest, most gentle, beautiful form. But yeah, and then we have like, you know, your vapes and disposables, like other people like to consume that way. I have a lot of, you know, parents who at night, instead of a cocktail, that relaxing aspect, that recreational aspect, they want to like have some cannabis. And so like a vapor or disposable is going to not smell for their, you know, most people aren't going to want to like let their kid smell the flower of marijuana being smoked, but maybe like taking a little puff or a little gummy or something is going to be a little better. And it's anything from the calm, relax, no high, utilizing the cannabis plant without getting high, to products that are going to elevate you and, you know, help ease you through your day, your evening, you know, and so like you can look at CBD as like your ibuprofen. You're going to take it and you're not going to feel anything, but you're going to feel better. And then your THC, which is more of your stronger medicine, your anti-anxiety, your antidepressant, your pain medicine, something like that. And it's just, I have it in a very little store. I mean, it's not much bigger than this room, the part where my store is, but it's just full of like really quality, good products. I've sourced as many from Wisconsin companies as I can. The Wisconsin companies I have on the shelves, like I know the owners of these companies, I know their processes, like they're doing things A+, as well as like nationwide brands that you just can't beat the prices. And they're also very A+, know what they're doing, been doing this for more years than Wisconsin has as well. And so there's just a whole host of different products and different milligrams. And, but I always like knowing what's going on with the person, what brought them in. And it's so fun. It's so fun hearing the stories. It's so fun, like, seeing people, like, loosen up. You know, they come in, they don't know what to expect. Like I was saying to you, it looks a little scary on the outside, or, like, it doesn't look as friendly as it does when you come inside. I'm working on that. But, like, you can just see people's, like, it's just, like, their shoulders get, like, chiller, and they get relaxed, and they, like, can let little stories out of how they've tried different things in the past and how it's helped them. And, like, they just can start, like, being themselves in my store. And it's really cool.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah.
I want a t-shirt.
Yeah. You got it. That's on me. I know your address now, so I can I can make that happen.
I'm just going to say,
what size are you?
Hey, I'm an XL.
Okay. All right.
Let's
I got
work
a good
that out.
memory.
All right. I just got more questions. I mean, because I'm kind of fascinated. I'm fascinated by the whole thing. Is there any new things that are on the horizon that you're thinking about doing as a product or something?
I am going to be getting away from processing my own stuff as I go forward. So that's going to change a little, and it's going to allow me time to more bring in other great products as well.
Okay.
I've been at the farm for many years where that took me, 75 to 400 plants outdoors. I'm not a farmer. Like, learning that whole thing kind of like took me away from people. And then I've been processing all my own oil, gummies, and pain salve. And I've realized through the last year of looking at outsourcing and getting gummies made for me, or hiring an employee to make the gummies, unfortunately, the time and the money, like it's a labor of love, specifically the gummies. And it just, outsourcing it isn't going to be quite the same. So there is more to be coming. Things are ever changing in my world, and I have like more exciting things to be coming. But it's definitely probably I'll be getting away from processing my own, just to be able to, like, I love selling it. I love being with people, selling it, and processing it keeps me in a kitchen for hours and hours at a time.
You love the people interaction portion.
I love getting the medicine to the people and to talking with the people and the community, and that's where I need to be. Okay. But there are other great products, and I love what people are doing, and I want to be able to get those in and share those to our community.
So, here's a question, and it seems like you're you've got passion, but you're also very knowledgeable, and it seems like you're in touch with both the product side, but maybe the political side of this whole thing, right? What's taking Wisconsin so long? And I think you know where I'm going with this, because, all our neighbors, we're legal. All our neighbor to the left, our neighbor to the right, our neighbor below us, and heck, even our neighbor above us, that whole country is. What's wrong with Wisconsin? Why are we taking so long?
Political bullshit. In my mind, that's how I can sum it up. It is a political bullshit game, and the only people that are hurting is Wisconsin, our community. It's a small amount of people who are holding this up. I mean, I've gotten on the activism side, and it's a lot of, we got one side that's like, so in this last bill with info that came out, to summarize, we got one side being like 5 pharmacy-led dispensaries in the entire state. Maybe that'd be okay. We got the other side saying everyone should be able to grow their own plants in their own home, smoke, make stuff, whatever. We are on very extreme sides with no one willing to come to the middle and saying, we can't probably do it this far one way or the other. We're going to need to come to a compromise. And no one's willing to do it. I mean, they're not, from what I'm seeing, either side is willing to come to the compromise to get it done for the people.
It just doesn't make any sense to me because, like, anybody, if they, if all our neighbors, literally everyone surrounding us, and we're the one spot in the middle, this makes no sense.
And I don't think it does make sense. I literally think it's political bullshit. Like, it's just, we are being hurt. It's like the people who are, they think it's so bad. Have they not tried it themselves? Like, sometimes I wonder, like, okay, if they're going to make these laws, like, you come smoke a bowl with me. Like, you come take one little hit of pot and tell me that your cocktail isn't getting you more.
First of all, I think they have smoked, and I don't ever think it's about the actual fighting against.
Right.
It's about political stances.
More than that,
Yeah, I always feel like it's about political posturing. Yes. It's not about how they actually feel about it, because they've smoked too. I'm just a firm believer. I don't believe, like, I do know some people who've never smoked ever, and that's cool. But actually, most of them aren't
judging it.
Yeah, they're not all scared of it.
No, you're right.
So it's not usually them. They're not like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, because most of them know a bunch of people who have, and they're still good people, and they're still doing life. They
might be doing life better.
Yeah, well, they might be. They actually might be.
I feel like I'm doing life better a lot of times. I mean, it helps me, like, truly be a more thoughtful, motivated human. And I
think there's something to that. I think there's a lot of science. Since there's been more research and science to it, I think there's a lot of stuff you can learn about, like the different strains and what they do and how they react. And I think all of that helps. I mean, it's not that mysterious anymore. You're not getting this mysterious bag.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, like, I think once we've gotten to that point, that's not this mysterious thing coming from any old place that you don't really understand or know. And even then, it wasn't that scary. It wasn't scary at all. Now, it's so much less scarier because, they can tell you the science behind it. It's almost like craft beer.
It is so like craft beer.
Craft beer can tell you it's this much alcohol and we put this flavoring in with this and this is how it was made and it's an IPA this or it's a this and that. And I feel like that's where it's at right now.
Oh, yeah, because you have the cannabinoids, but then you have the terpenes, which they're realizing through science. It's like we go outside and we say, well, we feel better after nature. It's because we're literally taking in terpenes of trees and like flowers and like taking in these smells that like that's what's creating euphoric happy feelings in us. And weed is chocked full of these terpenes and like thickly loaded with these terpenes, where then utilizing it, you're getting like these terpenes that are creating effects in you. It's not even just the cannabinoids. It's like, yeah, it's wild. And it's very craft beery. It's not scary.
Well, that was the closest analogy I could think of.
I like that. I mean, I really do. And I think that makes sense. And I think if we looked at it more like that, instead of maybe like what we were told to fear all these years and like let that go, because people always talk about the money and it kind of irritates me too. It's like we're missing out on so much money, they say, with legalization. And it's like, I mean, the legal money, the illegal money, I think like, we don't even know the illegal numbers. We just know the legal numbers that we're missing out. But it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, we are missing out on medicine. We are missing out on kids knowing real facts, real info, science. And we're missing out on, ruining generations of lives.
Oh, yeah, the legalization portion of it, because it's not fair.
No.
It's just flat out not fair.
No, and it hasn't been for almost 100 years. Like, what has that done over 100 years?
Oh. Man.
And here we still are rocking this in Wisconsin. Like, yeah, it's
the only one. And we are dead in the middle. Everything above, below, north or east and west of us are all legal. And here we go. And I think they're fully legal. They're not even medicinally legal. They are full recreational legal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
There's just no common sense to what's going on. And it's so sad because it's like, I love Wisconsin. Wisconsin's so great. Like, and it's not, that is not helping great people stay here and want to be here. It's not allowing people to stay here and get their medicine too. You know, people legitimately leave here because they want access to medicine.
So you got a retention argument too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Keep going.
Okay. Well, let me ask this question then. All right. Because I feel like we've might have covered most of the things. Is there anything that you would like to share with the Kosh listeners that maybe we didn't ask a question about or didn't cover in some type of aspect?
I feel like I really hit it all. I don't think I ever talked about, I did start like the company with my dog's name. It was from giving my dog CBD. Like, I've always had a love for THC and like known that it wasn't scary and whatever, but like CBD really came onto my radar through giving it to my dog and seeing the healing benefits. And that is how I like truly decided to plant a seed. So it's great for humans and for pets and just everybody out there.
Okay. Take a quick moment again and tell us about your business. Give us all the information, you know, where you're located, how do we reach you if need be, or is there a website? Give us all of the good deets.
Yeah, you can find me online, on Facebook, on Instagram. My company's name is R.Cole Hemp, R.Cole Hemp. You can reach me at 920-410-3522. That's the business number, my number. I have a website, rcolehemp.com. And then, yeah, my dispensary on Jackson Street. I'm open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 7. And just would love for people to come in and talk to me and share what they have to know, what they want to know, and just really creating a safe space.
Can you order online?
You can order my CBD products online, and I ship for free nationwide. But then I am all about, if you want to make a call to me, I have people who are making calls and just telling me what they want in my store. I'll put something together for you. I'll take video, you know, but I'm all about shipping to people too, family and friends that are around that like can't get in. I like that option of today of being able to have something free shipped to you. So I do provide that option as well.
Okay. All right. Well, Tess, thank you. At this time, we're going to start wrapping up this episode. All right, Kosh listeners, you already know what that means. It's time. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for giving us your minds and ears. Thank you for caring about this community. Thank you for being interested in another amazing neighbor who's here, making our community a better place. I think this was such a fascinating conversation. I love that Tess took the time to demystify some of these things for us. I don't think we have enough honest conversation surrounding this topic, and I wish we would, because I think there's harm done when we're not being honest with each other about these kinds of things. So, once again, we are the People's Podcast. We are trying to become the number one podcast in all of Wisconsin, and I can't do it alone. I have to do it with y'all, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But that means we need some help. How can you help? Hey, if you've got questions you would like asked, if there's segments you think we should add to the Kosh, if you would like to be a guest, if you would like to recommend a guest, you can reach us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. Also, we need your help because, you know, for us to become this number one podcast in all of Wisconsin, the People's Podcast, we got to get our numbers up, y'all. We need more things. So I need y'all, while you're listening right now, hit that rating. Give us those 5 stars. Don't you dare give us those 4 stars. We want the 5-star rating, and write us a review. Let us know how we're doing. You know, do all the things. Help the Kosh out. The better our analytics, the more eyes and ears gets to learn about this amazing podcast, where they can hear these fantastic conversations with our community members, our neighbors, about the wonderful things that they're doing here in the Kosh and surrounding the Kosh. All right. So now that we've got that handled, now on to the real business at hand. And y'all know what time it is. It is shout out time. Tess, shout outs?
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and I think in the spirit of community and our community, I am going to shout out some other dispensaries in town that have been doing amazing things with hemp and helping me along the way.
Ooh,
Yes.
let's do it.
So, HempWorks Wisconsin is another dispensary on Main Street, and owner Ben from Fond du Lac owns a dispensary in Fond du Lac and Oshkosh, and has been doing this for like 5 years now. So where I just opened my doors the day after Christmas, there's people who have had their doors open for much longer and really doing things right. And I source a ton of products from HempWorks Wisconsin that are then in my store. And it's just really been cool creating this community and seeing the lack of like feeling the need to compete rather than like, we're in this together. We're going to make this better for our community. The more that like we're in this together, it's definitely like helped me create a more quality establishment, having these other established businesses be run well and have things going on smooth. And like, so when I jumped into it, it definitely helped me. And then this one's a little outside of Oshkosh, but Infused Organics, which is another dispensary, been run for like 5 years. I knew of this dispensary like the 4 or 5 years ago. And definitely when I opened my doors in December was the place that I took inspiration from. Ryan, the owner over there, 4 years has been running this dispensary with like amazingly quality products. Just like the vibe and feel of his store was definitely like what I was able to play upon inspiration. Had I not known that place, I really don't think I could have played on that same inspiration of knowing exactly what I wanted to do. But I feel like the cannabis community in all of Wisconsin, let alone just in our little area, is strong. And like we're definitely, it is like, it's just a beautiful little community of people helping each other and knowing what we're in, knowing the space we're in, and being like, there's no room to compete. Like we are in this together. And if we're going to do this for our community, like we got to do this right. We got to do this by helping each other. And it's been absolutely amazing. And not all industries are like that, especially as like a woman in a male dominated industry. It's not always like that. And it's been super special and definitely only made me better and hopefully, them better too. So those are my 2 shout outs.
Ooh, okay. That was quick. And that was fast. That's what that was. But you know what? To your shout outs. Okay, so my shout outs. I want to give a quick shout out to the people who participate in the point in time count. Gosh, listeners, if you don't know, and I think I've mentioned this in other episodes because I've done it for several years now. There's 2 times a year we go out and we go and find our unhoused and we count them and do interviews with them and try to connect them with resources. And we go out once in the summer and once in the winter. And we go out from 10:30 till 3 a.m. and we meet these individuals and we try to collect information about them. This is the way that we get funding from both state and federal funding for our unhoused. And I can't tell you how powerful it is to go out and go talk to these individuals. And you'd be surprised at how many people are sleeping in their cars and sleeping in the most randomest of places. This year we found somebody hiding in between dumpsters sleeping, and they're just trying to, and wait, and here's the thing that a lot of people don't actually understand about some of our unhoused, many more than you would suspect. They actually have jobs. And like this individual got off of a 12-hour shift and this is, they found this spot this is where they could sleep. And it felt safe because they had the protection of these 2 metal units there. But does have a job, just does not make enough to have housing. And there's a lot more people out there like that than you think. And so I just want to send a shout out to the individuals who coordinate this, put this together, the volunteers that participated, because it is volunteer led or primarily volunteer participated in. Yeah, it's just a powerful thing. So don't underestimate the needs of our unhoused and how many people are unhoused right now and who those demographics that are unhoused. I think if people understood who they are, what they look like, and where they come from, they would be shocked. because it's not who people think they are. Send a special shout out to my girl, Martha Franco. That's all I'm going to say about that. She's a partner in crime, known her forever. And there's just certain people that when you get the opportunity to spend time with them, they re-energize you just off their flat out, unapologetic goodness. Just good, solid people. And she is one of them. I want to send a shout out to the League of Women Voters. I've had the opportunity to work with them on several occasions. And just the work that they're doing out here, trying to register people to vote, is such an important thing. They are nonpartisan, and they're just on the utmost in professionalism and information and keeping it 100 without all of the fog of politics is what I'm going to call it. They just keep it 100, and they just do amazing work. And so I appreciate them. I want to send a shout out to my fraternity brother, Alonzo Kelly, and the Kelly Leadership Group. If y'all know Alonzo does some of the most amazing trainings all around, actually nationally, actually worldwide. But the Kelly Leadership Group is going to be sponsoring a dragon boat for me and the gentlemen of Alpha Phi Alpha. That's right, us men, we are getting our butts back into a dragon boat, which last time was we were a spectacle to see. This year we are going to be competition to be had. You don't want these problems with us. You can be my
competition then.
Hey, you don't want to
be on a boat myself.
Well, I'm going to tell you now, Tess, you don't want these problems with us and the Alpha Phi Alpha gentlemen.
I don't think I do.
Hey, I'm just telling you. All right, and then the last shout out always goes, and this has become the tradition of the Kosh, the last shout out always goes to my wife, my wonderful wife, who takes care of me, who loves me, who nurtures me, nourishes me. I'm not going to lie about that one either. And most importantly, allows us to continue making this podcast in the house. Yeah. Let's just give a shout out to her. Oh, that was wrong. Wait, there we go. Sometimes we have button fumbles. Okay. Now we are at the end of this episode, and there's one thing left to do, Tess, and it is this. You've got a choice. You can leave the Kosh listeners with some parting words of wisdom. Option B, you can tell us what would today's Tess tell 13-year-old Tess. And option C, you can do both. So where are we going?
Well, I want to thank you and tell you I'm honored to be here today. And first and foremost, this was an amazing opportunity that I really do feel grateful to be on with you.
Now the Kosh is grateful to have you.
And then I think I'll go with B. And I think I would tell 13-year-old Tess to go after exactly what your internal knowing is and to go after it and act on it as soon as possible, because those little voices inside your heart and your brain, they don't go away. They just stay there until you do it or you act on it. And I would say to just believe in yourself that whatever that knowing is, as long as it's not going to hurt anybody else, to do it and to act on it.
Facts. Big facts right there. Okay, Tess, what you think?
I loved it.
Yes. The Kosh.